Wait for it. Been okay? A long time, man.
I'm finishing.
Oh, come on, you gotta get 10 minutes.
3 mics.
Do you get me? So the ginger thing, that's what we want to hear. Yeah, I got no friends, couldn't get a girlfriend, and as a Muslim,
I've watched enough of your videos to know it's not true.
I can pick a wife off a shelf.
Yeah, I know.
Beautiful.
But I know you've had a wife or a
Girlfriend.
partner and children. So.
And she was ginger.
Was she?
Indeed she was.
You're a children ginger. Skips a generation.
My father wasn't ginger, nor was my mother. But my grandmother was. So maybe that's what it does. But like I say, that's why. Got no friends. I've got no personality. I might be a little bit mentally sick. I'm mentally ill. And people saw me as low-hanging fruit. And yeah, they made me a Muslim.
Yeah, you've heard it all before, haven't you? You've heard all this before.
No, because that's the only way a white English person can justify someone becoming a Muslim. They can't get it. Why would you give up your white privilege? You're a white Englishman. Why would you give up your white privilege and join the Muzzies? There must be something wrong with you.
Well, I don't think gingers experience white privilege because, as you said,
Oh no, we do.
Growing up.
Yeah, we do. So,
White privilege.
because here's what human beings do.
Everyone hates white.
I'll give you an example, right? I used to watch horror films, yeah? And I would only watch horror films, right, that were so far-fetched that I knew could never happen, right? So, for example, you watched Friday the 13th, Jason at the lake. I used to say to myself, well, as long as I don't go to a cabin by a lake, Jason can't get me, right? And that was my justification, right? Now, white English lads, I'm just using an example here, when they look at a white English lad becoming a Muslim, they think, why has he become a Muslim? He must be crazy. He must have no friends. Oh, it's ginger, he mustn't have any friends. Can't get a girlfriend. Do you know why? Because if they're not the reasons, then they have to start thinking, well, wait a minute. Why has he become a Muslim? And if he did have friends and he can get a girlfriend and ginger wasn't an issue and he's still become a Muslim, why haven't I looked at it? So they tell themselves, oh, he's ugly ginger fat guy. Oh, he's got a big nose and big ears. That's why he's a Muslim. So he can't get a girl any other way. Because if they don't tell themselves that, they have to look at themselves. Now
I've said to you in the past.
No, I know that's what they're thinking. Now here's the amazing thing, and yes, in comment section, yes. But here's the amazing thing: Jordan kills that. Jordan kills that because you can't say to Jordan, "You're ugly, you're not successful, you can't get a girlfriend, you're ginger." So why has Jordan become a Muslim now? You know what they say? What do you reckon they say?
I don't know, issues at home, family.
He's a copper.
Right,
That's it. MI5.
Really?
Has to be.
Infiltrated.
Because no way would a tall, good-looking, handsome English lad
Converts his back.
become a Muslim, unless they were undercover coppers.
Is there any ulterior motives in Jordan? Or did he just genuinely?
Jordan's a sound lad. Jordan is the lad
Am I
who.
right in thinking his sister became a Muslim first?
Huh?
Am I right in thinking his sister became a
Yeah,
Muslim
but
first?
Jordan, he's an intellectual lad. Now, if you talk and act and behave with intellect, you'll become a Muslim. If you act on emotion, you won't. Standard. Because your position is not logical. Your position is irrational. Because you think you're with the crowd. Do you get me?
Yeah.
Like, I know I can have a chat with Tommy Robinson and destroy all of his arguments. All of them. Age of Aisha, this, that, whatever it is. Destroy them all. Then what? So they won't allow him to get close to people like me. They need the myth. They need the unicorn. Do you get me? Because when I expose the unicorn... Okay, sorry.
What do you mean?
The unicorn is just this idea, this fabricated idea of what Islam is and why people are Muslims and what Muslims are and what they do. This is a myth.
Did Mohammed fly to heaven on a unicorn? Is that true?
Say it again?
Did Mohammed fly to heaven on a unicorn?
No.
A winged horse?
No.
The Burak?
Well, that's different, isn't it? No, you can't talk about the Burak unless you believe in a creator and you believe in miracles.
Yeah.
Because if Allah can create this earth, yeah, from nothing, then Allah can create an animal that can fly to heaven. Not an issue.
You see why people don't believe it, though? Why people
Believe
struggle.
what?
Why people struggle that, like it's metaphorical or it's an allegory, it's not literally.
Why don't they believe it?
Because it's inherently irrational.
Why is it irrational?
Because horses can't fly.
But how do you know this animal didn't exist?
Well, I don't.
But do you believe in the miracles of God? Do you believe, for example, that Jesus could cure the blind? Did you believe Moses could part the sea?
Well, I don't believe it's miraculous. I think whatever happens.
Oh, you don't think it's miraculous?
No. I think human beings are very good at telling stories.
So you think it's fabricated?
I do think it's fabricated. Yeah,
Right,
I
right.
think they're
So,
psychological
right.
stories, archetypal stories.
Which is fine. So if you hold that position, don't talk about Burak. None of your business. You don't understand the supernatural.
What have you been like that for?
Huh?
What have you been like that for?
No, it's standard. I'm not necessarily talking to you specifically. It's the argument, the idea that you can mock the idea of Burak.
Did I mock it?
Yes.
Why?
You called it a winged unicorn.
I said a flying horse.
No, you didn't. You called it a flying unicorn.
I asked.
In a mocking manner.
No, I asked.
With a smile on your face.
No, I didn't. I asked you. Didn't have
So anyway, so the point here is this. The supernatural is none of your business if you don't accept the existence of the supernatural. Standard. There you go. Then if you don't accept the existence of supernatural, don't ask about it.
So could I just take it back to the deism? You were a deist, but it was sort of like you were, as you said, it was.
Do you know how long I was a deist for?
A week.
Yeah.
About a week. And then you.
Maybe a little bit longer.
And then you embraced Islam ahead of all the other religions.
Yes.
You never look back.
No. 18 years in October. Protected from all the things destroying society today. Protected from gambling and alcohol and sexual immorality and all of this stuff. Beautiful. My kids have the same guidance. Alhamdulillah. My friends became brothers. The pub became the mosque. Beautiful. Because human beings, we're social creatures. So are you going to gravitate towards people that are indulging in things that are going to could potentially destroy your life in the future? I guarantee, go speak to the homeless in London. Ask them how they got where they got. I guarantee you one of the 5 poisons led to that position. Guaranteed. Whether it be drugs, whether it be alcohol, whether it be gambling, whether it be sexual immorality, whether it be dealing in interest and debt and credit card payments and payday loans and stuff like this. But one of those 5 poisons led you there.
Can you not indulge in the 5 poisons, but not just don't go too far with it? Just be sensible,
What?
be intelligent.
Oh, okay. With regards to alcohol, for example, we're told there's benefit in it, but the harm is greater. Where are you going to stop? Why do you think now people are realising, why is gambling now? When it stops being fun, then stop. Why do you think now they're encouraging have alcohol-free weeks? Because they know it's no good for you.
So it's back to this bit, this morality has to be standardised.
Yes.
Objective science.
Look, we Muslims can't just drink alcohol, yeah? We can't be around it where it's being served. We can't sell it, we can't buy it, we can't transport it, we can't manufacture it. We can't come anywhere near it. Yeah? So I'm not going to get stabbed up or glassed in a nightclub by some pissed up geezer and I'm drinking orange juice. What is?
That's scholars who are experts in finance.
Extreme narrative. What are you saying to me? When people go to nightclubs,
It happens, but not that
no.
often.
What happens when you drink alcohol?
You get drunk.
What happens?
You lose your inhibitions a little bit.
A lot.
And you have a lot of fun.
A lot. Well, one man's fun is another man's nightmare.
But what we have to appreciate
Yeah?
is that
You watching a Western movie, Hang 'em High and all this. What's the common denominator with all the bad guys? They're always drinking whiskey.
about should I pray 5
All
times
of them.
a day?
They're cool though, aren't they?
Should I go to Hyde
No?
once in my life?
Scumbags, from my perspective.
Is God one?
Yeah, they're cool robbing and killing and murdering people. Fantastic, mate. Is that your standard?
Last prophet.
I think you can sort of, you can entertain it.
Have you seen Peaky Blinders?
Flirt
Have
with
you seen Peaky Blinders?
Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy.
Have you seen Peaky Blinders?
No, I've not seen it. It's Tom Hardy.
Well, anyway, check this out. Peaky Blinders. Tommy Shelby's brother Arthur. Everything he does is when he's drunk on whiskey.
Some people will say, actually,
So,
fine.
listen. I've worked in Falaraki. I've worked in Zakynthos. I've worked in the bars. I've seen what alcohol does.
Before you were a Muslim.
Yes, of course. Yeah, I worked in a pub on Christmas Eve after I became a teetotal. Before becoming a Muslim, I worked in a pub Christmas Eve, and I watched this pub transform to sober people to drunk people, and it was descending into hell. Yeah, and now if you're sober, I've nearly had fights in pubs before I was a Muslim because I didn't want to drink alcohol. People saying to me, "It's good enough for us, but not good enough for you." Do you know what I'm saying? So, no, I don't believe alcohol's a good thing.
Consensus.
And I truly believe if you go to a nightclub and people are pissed up, and you're not, and you're trying to act normal, and people are acting crazy, you're going to be like, hey, watch me. Yeah? You're going to get in a fight, mate. And then if you mix sexual immorality into it, you're looking at my bird. Yeah? So all of these things. So the beautiful thing is in Islam, we're away from all of that. Alhamdulillah. I've never been in a nightclub.
You can flirt with it without going too far. I mean, when I drink, I'm very measured.
Say it again.
I think you can flirt with it without becoming decadent and getting involved in
Who's this? It's going to come to an end in a minute anyway.
You've got somewhere to be.
That's why I'm a Muslim, so stupid. Yeah. So anyway, going back to my original point. Yes, moderation is one thing, but who moderates your moderation?
Because there aren't that many things that are...
When do you know is enough is enough? What happens when you have a bereavement? What if you lose your job? What if something else happens and you drink a little bit too much? And then something happens whilst you're... You know, I heard a statistic, 70% of people in prison were in this alcohol or drugs when they committed their crimes.
That's fine.
What does that tell you? And then I also hear 70% of people in prison came from broken homes. Then I start questioning, well, what causes broken homes? Alcohol, drugs, gambling, sexual immorality, and interesting things. So, if you prohibit those 5 things, you don't get broken homes. If you don't get broken homes, you don't get criminals in prison. Everyone's a winner. You encourage...
Life's so much fun then.
My life's fantastic, alhamdulillah. What do you mean by fun?
Well, I think it's okay to indulge in those things a little bit without going too far.
How old are you?
33.
You married?
So it would be...
You got kids?
It would be,
All
I would
right.
say...
I'll be honest with you, the last me and my missus have, I don't think I could have any other way
The last what, sorry?
with my missus.
The last
The laughs,
laughs.
me and the missus, that we have when we joke and stuff, yeah? It's like another level, yeah? What is fun? What you mean, me going out, drinking, so I can't really control myself anymore, and I might do something stupid, but I can blame it on the drink? That's fun.
Yeah, but then again, it can paint a very extreme picture of it. Not I don't behave like that.
Okay, what's fun then? Tell me the fun. Tell me the fun. What's the enjoyment?
I think it's okay to go to the pub and have a few beers and chat with your friends. So you might use your inhibition.
Why do you need to go to the have a few beers?
You need to.
You do. You do.
But you prohibit it completely.
No. Why do you need the few beers? Why can't you go to the pub and have a Coke?
Well, occasionally I do.
No, but why do you need the few beers though? You need the beers
That's what I'm saying.
because you can't be yourself without the beers. That's the standard. You're afraid to talk about what you feel like, but when you've had a beer, when you've had a beer, there's no consequences.
Yeah. That's a 10-minute preview, brothers and sisters. Inshallah, we'll end. If I can just get... For the full video, please go to EFDawah, inshallah. Sorry, brother. Can I just get through? Thank you. Inshallah, go to EFDawah, brothers and sisters. We're going to move on to Abbas for a second for 10 minutes. Sorry, bro. Let's get through. There's Abbas over here, right at the back.
I have to pay blood money to his family.
Assalamu alaikum.
I have to give blood money to his family. So it is regarded as a very serious thing. And if you kill somebody deliberately, you have to pay the blood money and qisas. The punishment is execution if you deliberately kill somebody. Premeditated murder, the Sharia says it's execution. It does not tolerate people going around killing people.
Would the guilty person have a lawyer to defend them, or it's just an order that's...
It will go in front of the Qadi, the scholar. He will have his representative. They will have their representative. They will argue according to the Sharia, according to the law, and then the decision will be made. And finally, then anything that's going to be handed out. It's a process which is quite remarkable because we're talking about the 7th century. In the 7th century, there was no law, there was no order. And you imagine at that time, these systems were set up. Prior to Islam, there was no law and order. It was a savage society.
None whatsoever, at all.
It was might is right. The Arabs lived with the
Well, even the Jewish, the
Banu Qurayza and Banu Qaynuqa.
they followed the Torah, but
They followed
had
the
their
Torah.
laws then.
They had their laws. They lived in their communities. their forts, and their laws were their laws. And so even when Islam conquered the whole of the Arabian Peninsula, the Jews were allowed to operate their Sharia, and the Muslims operated their Sharia, unless if a Jew had done something to a Muslim, killed them or something like that, then the Sharia, that is a legal law that applies to everybody. But it was a system established, and this is where a lot of people don't appreciate that this is the 7th century, where the world was full of savagery, and Allah set down laws of inheritance, laws of governance, rights for women. One of the sayings of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, the best of you are the ones who are best to their wives. In the 7th century, that is something that maybe people have only spoken about in the last 50 or 60 years. Be good to your wife. It's still a joke in the pub now about your women, about the wives and stuff. In Islam, actually, strictly speaking, you're not supposed to do that. You're not permitted, for example, to even talk about things between you and your wife of an intimate nature as a joke. It's regarded as something that is very disgusting, disgraceful, out of respect.
From what you've said, you actually just prompted a question in my head. So within the Sharia, from what you've just told me, how is domestic abuse dealt with? Or is it not addressed?
The Prophet,
not perfect now in the West.
The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and this is the 7th century, he brought the people in and he warned them about abusing their wives. And in fact, when you think about it, you cannot force your wife to do your cooking and your cleaning and your ironing and even looking after the kids. She doesn't have to do that. If she says, I need some help, you have to help her. And if you can't, you have to provide help for her.
But what if you refuse? Is she then allowed to get a lawyer or?
Yes, she can go to the Qadi. And
How do you pronounce it?
Qadi is a judge, the judge. Qadi would be the judge. And a woman in Islam, now just imagine, 7th century. If her husband is not able to satisfy her needs, you know what I mean, right? That is a legal ground for her within Islamic law. She can go to the Qadi and say that I want a divorce, because he's not able to satisfy my needs.
How will she get the evidence?
She doesn't need evidence.
She doesn't need evidence?
No. And the judge will speak to both of them, and they will give them time, obviously, to try to medical treatment, whatever is necessary. But at the end, if she insists, he can't satisfy me, the Qadi will grant the divorce. 7th century.
Now, what, does that apply now to the UK Sharia?
Well, no, because you see, we have to abide by the law of the land. So we live in England. Here we do a registry, a legal thing. There is an Islamic marriage, which can be dealt with within the Islamic framework, but you still have to go to the court, and you still have to do things legally in this country, because in Islam we have to abide by the law of the land. But there's no conflict, because we can do the Sharia marriage, and we can do the marriage within the courts as well. So it becomes legal in this country, and it's legal within our religion. There's no conflict there for us.
I did see a woman once who wasn't happy with the Sharia decision in the UK, and she went to the courts, which kind of confused me, because I thought that you could either choose one or the other. They weren't intertwined, but it seems that she was still able to challenge by going to a UK court, which surprised me.
No, but she can, because remember, she's in the jurisdiction of the legal system of this country. So the law here recognizes a marriage done in a registry office, right? That's been witnessed and, signed and everything else. Now, legally, she would still have to go there and have the marriage annulled anyway, because otherwise she's legally tied to the person, right? But I have remember our conversation that we have spoken before.
Oh yes, that was
Long time
a while
ago.
ago. Yeah, we were just talking about the word belief.
I see.
And the discussion about the Muslim prophet
Okay.
speaking to Jibril and Allah in a cave, whether it happened or not.
Okay.
That was ages ago. That's what we.
So where have you moved on in your journey of knowledge, though? Where are you now? What do you believe?
I'm still searching, but as you can see from the questions I've asked you, part of my search for the truth has involved looking at the laws from various religions. So I've had discussions with Jews about what's in the Torah, and I'm having a discussion with Muslims about what I've noticed in Sharia, which is why I learned about, the Sharia would be made up with verses, surahs and ayahs from the Quran, certain hadiths, and there's another process, ijma. So I was learning all about that. So I'm still searching, asking questions, doing research. But then when I do the research, I think it's also important that I talk to people about it.
Alhamdulillah. No, that's
So
very good.
That's what I'm doing.
That's very good. But in terms of your concept or your anchor to believe in a creator, are you there yet, or is that something that you're still debating?
Oh no,
or?
I want to believe in a creator, but then I'm still trying to find out whose truth is the truth about the creator. Because I want to believe that there is something out there, because I don't really want to fall into the realm of believing that everything around us is coincidental. To me, there are too many amazing things for me to believe it's all coincidental. I believe there's an external source responsible. But whose truth defines that external source? Is it what I used to be a Christian, or is it what the Jews say, or is it what the Muslims say? So that's when I do the research and I look at the laws and the spirituality.
But one of the things I would say to you there is that if you look at the poster there, for example, of all of the religions that we find, generally their core teaching is this one all-powerful being. Now, whether we say creator, whether we say God, whether we say Allah, or whether we refer to that one single all-powerful creator being as what the other religions may refer to him as, that one thing I think is pretty universal. So at least what I would suggest to you, perhaps if you accept that,
I will, because I'll tell
at
you
least
why.
accept that first
Yeah,
foundational.
Because the tribe that I'm a part of in Africa, the tribe I'm a part of, the Yorubas, some of them are Muslims, some of them are Christians, some of them stick with the Yoruba religion. Now within the Yoruba religion, even there is this belief in a creator, Olodumare,
Right,
the creator.
right.
So as you were
The
saying,
all-powerful, all-knowing.
yeah. So,
And this one thing is amazing because we find this universal, in South America, in Aborigine, Australia, everywhere you find this concept of this one and only powerful being.
except for the ancient Greeks.
Well, of course, they had many mixed up ideas, right? And there are obviously anomalies everywhere. So what I would suggest to you is that if you are convinced that this could not have just happened by accident, and that the universe itself needs an explanation as to where it came from, then it would be quite rational, I think, to believe in this almighty creator that's responsible for everything. So if you accept that, then of course your journey can start in finding out, you said you were Christian, I think, before, right? And
Because I've still got family members trying to pull me back to Christianity.
yeah, and if you look at the core message of Christianity, God is one, God is absolute, God is all-knowing.
Find the rest of the Dawah that the brother is giving, the debate, on EFDawah later on, hopefully today or this week, brothers and sisters. These are only previews of Hamza and Abbas, because they come a long way, and they don't come all the time. So what we do is we provide small previews, inshallah, to support them. And if we put the whole video, it wouldn't be very fair for the channel, would it? So Jazak Allah Khair for your support, brothers and sisters. I'll give you a little look around. Oh no, we've had a little bit of a butt-in. I'm sure you'll be able to catch that later on the full debate. I'll give you a little bit of a tour and then I'll have to come offline, guys. Jazak Allah Khair for all your support either way. Yeah, it's a bit quiet, bro. Let's go have a look where I want to see if Brother Mansour's here yet.
Like many other men, old, young, that be redeemed. Thank you, God.
It's definitely a hot day today. Whew, no shade around here. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everyone, by the way. Sorry guys, I can't always keep a eye on the, on the comments. I have to watch where I'm going. I have to keep an eye on the other camera as well.
But no man can do this miracle that you
Some of the most popular videos on YouTube are music videos.
Come on, man, because you've got the French.
On the videos, it's a nice, brilliant, nice.
Alright brothers and sisters, I can't see Brother Mansoor Hashim yet. I think they're on their way. Inshallah we'll tune back in with them once they're here. Jazak Allah Khair for all your support. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you all. Ameen.